cry of the 13th Aethyr, which is called ZIM. Into the stone there cometh an image of shining waters, glistening in the sun. Unfathomable is their beauty, for they are limpid, and the floor is of gold. Yet the sense thereof is of fruitlessness. And an angel cometh forth of pure pale gold, walking upon the water. Above his head is a rainbow, and the water foams beneath his feet. And he saith, Before his face am I come that hath the 33 thunders of increase in his hand. From the gold water shalt thou gather corn. All the air behind him is gold, but it opens as it were a veil. There are 2 terrible black giants wrestling in mortal hatred, and there is a little bird upon a bush, and the bird flaps its wings. Thereat the strength of the giant snaps, and they fall in heaps to the earth, as though all their bones were suddenly broken. And now waves of light roll through the ether, as if they were playing. Therefore suddenly I am in a garden, upon a terrace of a great castle, that is about a rocky mountain. In the garden are fountains and many flowers. There are girls also in the garden, tall, slim, delicate, pale. And now I see that the flowers are the girls, for they change from one to another. So varied and lucent and harmonious is all this garden, that it seems like a great opal. A voice comes, This water which thou seest is called the water of death. But Nemo hath filled therefrom our springs. And I say, Who is Nemo? And the voice answered, A dolphin's tooth, a ram's horn, and the hand of a man that is hanged, and the phallus of a goat. By this I understand that Nun is explained by Shin, and He by Resh, and Mem by Yod, and Ayin by Tau. Nemo is therefore called 165 equals 11 times 15, and is in himself 910 equals 91, Amen, times 10, and 13 times 70 equals the one eye, Ayin. And now there cometh an angel into the garden, but he hath not any of the attributes of the former angels, for he is like a young man dressed in white linen robes. And he saith, No man hath beheld the face of my Father. Therefore he that hath beheld it is called Nemo. And know thou that every man that is called Nemo hath a garden that he tendeth, and every garden that is and flourished hath been prepared from the desert by Nemo, watered with the waters that were called death. And I say unto him, To what end is the garden prepared? And he saith, First for the beauty and delight thereof, and next because it is written, and Tetragrammaton Elohim planted a garden eastward in Eden. And lastly, because though every flower bringeth forth a maiden, yet is there one flower that shall bringeth forth a man-child. and his name shall be called Nemo. When he beholdeth the face of my Father, and he that tendeth the garden seeketh not to single out the flower that shall be called Nemo. He doth not but tend the garden. And I say, pleasant indeed is the garden, and light is the toil of tending it, and great is the reward. And he saith, bethink thee that Nemo hath beheld the face of my Father, in him is only peace. And I say, are all gardens like unto this garden? And he waved his hand, and in the air across the valley appeared an island of coral, rosy, with green palms and fruit trees in the midst of the bluest of the skies. And he waved his hand again, and there appeared a valley shut in by the mighty snow mountains, and in it were pleasant streams of water rushing through, and broad rivers, lakes covered with lilies. And he waved his hand again, and there was a vision, as it were of an oasis in the desert. And again he waved his hand, and there was a dim country with grey rocks, and heather, and gorse, and bracken. And he waved his hand yet again, and there was a park, and a small house therein, surrounded by yews. This time the house opens, and I see in it an old man sitting by the table. He is blind, yet he writeth in a great book constantly. I see what he is writing. The words of the book are as the leaves of the flowers in the garden. Many indeed of these my song shall go forth as maidens, but there is one among them, which one I know not, that shall be a man-child, whose name shall be Nemo. When he hath beheld the face of the Father, and become blind. All this vision is most extraordinarily pleasant and peaceful, entirely without strength or ecstasy or any positive quality, but equality, free from the opposites of any of those qualities. And the young man seems to read my thoughts, which is, that I should love to stay in this garden and do nothing forever, for he saith to me, come with me, and behold how Nemo tendeth his garden. So we enter the earth, and there is a veiled figure in absolute darkness. Yet it is perfectly possible to see in it, so that the minutest details do not escape us. And upon the root of one flower he pours acid, so that that root withereth as if in torture. And another he cuts, and the shrieks like the shriek of mandrake, torn up by the roots. And another he chars with fire, and yet another he anoints with oil. And I say, heavy is the labor, but great indeed is the reward. And the young man answered me, he shall not see the award. He tendeth the garden. And I say, what shall come unto him? And he says, this thou canst not know, nor is it revealed by the letters that are the totems of the stars, but only by the stars. And he says to me, quite disconnectedly, the man of earth is the adherent. The lover giveth his life unto the work among men. The hermit goeth solitary and giveth only of his light unto men. And I ask him, why does he tell me that? And he says, I tell thee not. Thou tellest thyself, for thou hast pondereth thereupon for many days, and hast not found light. And now that thou art called Nemo, the answer to every riddle that thou hast not found shall spring up in thy mind, unsought. Who can tell upon what day a flower shall bloom? And thou shalt give thy wisdom unto the world, and that shall be thy garden. And concerning time and death, thou hast not to do with these things. For though a precious stone be hidden in the sand of the desert, it shall not heed for the wind of the desert, although it be but sand. For the workers of the work hath worked thereupon, and because it is clear it is invisible, and because it is hard it moveth not. All these words are heard by every one that is called Nemo. And with that doth he apply himself to understanding, and he must understand the virtue of the waters of death, and he must understand the virtues of the sun and the wind, and of the worm that turneth the earth, and of the stars that roof in the garden, and he must understand the separate nature and the properties of every flower, or how shall he tend his garden? And I say to him, concerning the vision and the voice, I would know of these things, be of the essence of the ether, or of the essence of the seer? And he answers, it is of the essence of him that is called Nemo, combined with the essence of the ether. For from the first ether to the 15th ether there is no vision and no voice, save for him that is called Nemo. And he that seeketh the vision and the voice therein is led away by dog-faced demons that show no sign of truth, seducing from the sacred mysteries, unless his name be Nemo. And hast thou not been fitted? Thou too hast been led away. For before the gate of the 15th ether is this written, he shall send them strong delusions, that they shall believe a lie. And again it is written, the Lord hardeneth Pharaoh's heart. And again it is written, that God tempteth man. But thou hast the word and the sign, and thou hast authority from thou superior, and license, and thou hast done well in that thou didst not dare, and in that thou dost dare, for daring is not presumption. And he said, moreover, thou dost well to keep silent, for I perceive how many questions arise in thy mind, yet already thou knowest that the answering, as the asking, must be vain. For Nemo hath all in himself, he hath come where there is no light or knowledge, only when he needeth them no more. And then we bow silently, giving a certain sign, called the sign of Isis rejoicing. And then he remaineth toward the ether, while I return unto the bank of sand, that is the bed of the river near the desert.